Welcome back to College Football Time with Avery Miguel. Avery, another interesting weekend of college football. But boy, oh boy, game of the week, Tennessee versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma was absolutely embarrassment from an offensive standpoint. Tennessee won 25 to 15. Coach got his revenge on Oklahoma. That has been talked about all week. Him getting let go back in 2014, and this is the same team that he played for quarterback in the year 2000. But I had Tennessee winning this game, even though we didn't talk about that last week. But yeah, Tennessee won 25 to 15, and it was just a horrible, horrible, horrible game for Oklahoma.
It was, especially because they're playing at home. If you're gonna have a team come into your house and embarrass you like that, the score doesn't dictate, you know, a lot more than what we believe happened. Like a 25 to 15 victory for Tennessee is very good, but considering all the other storylines that are intermingled into that game, you figured, if you're like, oh, hey, did you hear Tennessee beat Oklahoma? And you're like, oh, was it like 30-20 or, 45-30? You figure this would have been a more high scoring game, but this was a very defensive game by Tennessee, and you are absolutely correct. Their head coach wanted to come into Oklahoma and, as you say, get revenge, but also not only show Oklahoma, but the SEC that Tennessee is not to be messed around with. And I think it was a very good job on Tennessee's front because they're going into a bye and they can kind of sit back and watch the SEC kind of run ramshot over each other next week. And then Tennessee is going to play at Arkansas. So not only do they get this big win at Oklahoma, they can rest up, they can pat themselves on the back a little bit and go back to the game plan when they get ready to play Arkansas on October 5th.
Hail Mary. Shedeur Sanders, Hail Mary at the end of the fourth quarter. Avery is very rare to see a Hail Mary throw at the end of the game to tie the game or to win it. This, without a doubt, will go down as one of the top moments in college football this season. Colorado beat Baylor in overtime 38 to 31. But we're going to remember the most I talked about the most is that Hail Mary throw at the end.
You are exactly right. And not only that, when I was watching the game, it was a tie game because I was switching back and forth between other games going on at the same time. And not only that, you have Colorado that are still trying to make their statement in the Big 12. So playing a good game against Baylor would have been the best bet. They were also playing at home. And not only that, it was raining. So there's something about a football game in the rain. You're trying to make a statement for not only the school, but the conference. You are trying to cement yourselves as being a top team. You need to have those big plays, if you will. And not only that, yes, that Hail Mary, yes, to tie the game. They did it coming back in the rain. LeJohntay Webster, great catch. And they have probably like the best angle of him catching that ball. When you look at it real fast, you thought that ball bounced off and he kind of trapped it a bit. But they have the best angle of Webster catching that ball. And I'll give Colorado a little bit of credit. They could have gone for two to win the game, but I think just getting the extra point and then going into overtime and then letting their offense and their defense take care of it, I think that was the best game plan for Colorado. And even ESPN analyst said the day after, Colorado is probably the most exciting team to watch right now in college football, and I would be inclined to agree. The games aren't pretty, but they are exciting to watch. And I think that's the wonderful thing about college football. College football is just exciting to watch. And when you have those thriller games or, that defensive stop or that Hail Mary, completion, it just works. And we've said it before. That's the wonderful thing about college football.
Last but not least, Pittsburgh Panthers. They improved to 4-0 and they put up 73 points on Youngstown. 73. They won this game 73-17. I gotta laugh because that's a that's a massive spanking right there.
And the weird thing is that's not the highest scoring game. There was a game like 2 weeks ago that a team put up 86. So when you have Pittsburgh putting up 73 points, and not only that, they're going to be playing North Carolina next week, and North Carolina just dropped 70 on James Madison. So
No,
definitely
James Madison dropped 70, North Carolina dropped 50.
that's what I meant.
It was a basketball game basically.
Yeah, basically that's what it is. And we've kind of heard those sayings before. Oh, I went to a baseball game and, a football game broke out. Now it's, I went to a college football game and a college basketball game broke out with stuff like that. Now, granted, like we said, I like a high scoring game. I do, but occasionally you want your defense to make those plays, to make those stops, to kind of have that you know, a little bit of give and take by a team. And the interesting thing about the Pitt game is Eli Holstein, their quarterback, he only threw 3 touchdowns. Everything else was spread around the team. Now, granted, I like when you want to give other players a chance, but when you keep racking up points like that for a team, you have to be weary. And when you get these scores where, and I know how it is, a lot of these teams, they'll play these other schools money and then rack up a whole bunch of points. Okay, that's fine. But do not be fooled. You have some teams that when they come in, and we've seen it, Northern Illinois, Appalachian State, they're gonna come to play football. Don't assume that when you play a team, you're just gonna rack up and, like you say, a college basketball game is gonna break out. But sure, Pitt wanted to, show that they have a high-powered offense, which is great, but now it's on anything. Like, who else are you going to play that you can still showcase that offense? And I did mention James Madison, they put up 70 against North Carolina. So now it's like, is North Carolina going to have flashbacks when they play Pitt if the score gets that high? Also, we also mentioned about Army and Navy, along with James Madison being undefeated. They average like 35 points a game. When you have teams that are averaging that type of offense, it's exciting to watch, but also it can get kind of tiring because it's almost like you're watching a high school football game. And granted, high school football is exciting to watch, but then it can get very cumbersome when it just seems like it's too easy. And I hate to sound that, especially when it comes to college football. I know these gentlemen, they work hard, they play hard, they do the best you can, but you don't want to see teams get run roughshod every week.